Hi everyone, I'm Sadaksh Chauhan, a third year undergraduate from the Department of Civil Engineering. I'm contesting for the post of General Secretary Sports Affairs. My sporting journey at IIT Bombay began right from my freshman year. From NSO football, and I also became the sports secretary of Hostel 16 and even represented my hostel in numerous GCs. Throughout my stay here, I have constantly been involved with sports, and the one I'm most passionate about is football. This passion for sport and how it keeps on driving me would be best explained by a short anecdote. As the sports secretary, I wanted to set an example and worked really hard for my hostel in the biggest event of the year, the football GC. This was the biggest event for me personally. I almost single-handedly managed and looked after the requirements of our team from hostel 15-16 and even managed to keep my teammates constantly motivated. This dedication from both my team and me motivated all of us, and we played not just for our hostels, but for each other, and performed exceptionally. As a team and against all odds, we bagged the silver medal. This might just be a small anecdote for you guys and wouldn't mean much to you, but this kind of teamwork and the attitude of fighting for one another in a team has always motivated me to strive to work hard for the Institute sports community. After this, I have been a part of the Institute Sports Council for the last 2 years, first as a sports convener and now as the Institute Football Secretary. Being an active member of the Institute football team and the sporting community for more than 2 years now, I have gained a better insight into the requirements and issues faced by our contingent. And currently, as an Institute Secretary, I understand the administrative aspects of sports, which are at the back end work. As your GSEC candidate, I envision a glorious and inclusive atmosphere in the Institute, wherein all sports enthusiasts are catered to and everyone has access to the opportunities for improving and showcasing their talent. Some of my key initiatives, which have been taken with this underlining vision and in consideration of both the short term and the long term future of the Institute, are for the following. The incoming batches, they're the future of the Institute, and to build a better future for them, I have ensured that they get a platform to showcase their talent. The general championships to reignite the hostel culture and sports culture. This is important because to improve our contingent and the sports community as a whole, the wholesome development of institute sports culture is very crucial. Journalism, a new avenue of sports for a better outreach and to ensure that the awareness of the institute residents increases. The sports app for working towards digitizing sports in the institute, which is the need of the hour in these trying times. Infrastructure for the upkeep of our state-of-the-art facilities and to open some new projects for the sports fraternity.
I hope that ends your opening statement. We'll be going over to Pallav now. Pallav, you can start.
Hello everyone, I'm Pallav Banka, present in here in front of you, contesting for the post of General Secretary Sports Affairs. Before entering the institute, I knew IIT Bombay as an academic institute. But when I saw the extraordinary facilities and infrastructure, highly professional and experienced coaches, and actually came to know about Inter-IIT, it pumped me up and the sports person within me to work harder and strive to improve my game each passing day. Having a wholesome experience as a part of NSO lawn tennis in my first year and Inter-IT camp in second year, I got an opportunity to interact with amazing seniors in our sports community. This insight into the sports culture gave me the push to become the Institute Lawn Tennis Secretary in my third year, where I got the opportunity to serve the community giving my best. And at the same time, it helped me in developing not just as a sports person, but also as an individual. Gaining so much from IIT Bombay Sports over the years, now the time has come that I give it all back as the General Secretary Sports Affairs. My vision is to take IIT Bombay Sports forward as a whole, making it more inclusive for everyone who has the zeal and the enthusiasm to play sport, be it at any level, from beginners to experts. For those who are not just players but sports lovers as well. Learning from the pandemic, there's an opportunity to reflect on our hygiene and fitness. And so, as General Secretary Sports Affairs, I promise to create a healthier and fitter campus for all of you. To achieve these goals, an important aspect is to improve the accountability and transparency of the system, to generate that trust that IIT Bombay Sports is working for the betterment of the sports community. My manifesto encompasses my vision and aims at serving everyone in the community and exploring new arenas which have been left untouched and will assist IIT Bombay Sports to rise back stronger than ever before from the current tough times, setting up an example for the upcoming generations that no matter how tough the times are, we as a family hold the ability to bounce back irrespective of the hardships we face and come up with much better version of ourselves by introspecting and learning from the toughest of times. And if elected as General Secretary Sports Affairs, I will execute my manifesto to 100%.
Thank you, Pallab. So now we'll be moving on to the manifesto debate. In this, every candidate will be asking the other candidate a total of 3 questions. These questions have been taken by the EC prior to the SOAPBOX and have been approved. And I think the candidates also have the approval with them. In this case, a maximum of 5 rebuttals would be allowed in a particular discussion, and the time spent on a particular question could not be more than 4 minutes. Finally, we'll be starting with the manifesto debate. Since Sadaksh got the first chance in the opening statement, Pallav has the first chance to ask a question to Sadaksh. And remember, Pallav, your number of rebuttals can be reduced depending upon what direction it is. As I stated in the general points, there is no role of current GS or election commission other than monitoring or moderating the session. Although the moderator shall state whether the fact quoted by a candidate is correct or incorrect, the person also has the right to stop any discussion which is misleading and or deviating from the topic. So I hope that sets the ground clear. Over to you, Pallav. Your first question.
Okay, Sadaksh, in your first question in the first point in the manifesto, you have mentioned that you will be conducting Sophie Sports Camp, which will be a year-long camp and guided by professionals. So can you tell me how are you planning to execute it? Because we already have NSO batches coming in, which contain 650 students across all the sports, and also the inter-IT team camp practices that go on in the facilities. And definitely we have very limited time available for among the coach, and also a very limited space as infrastructure constraints for students. So can you tell me how are you planning to execute this year-long camp?
Well, first of all, I'll start with the idea behind this point. The thing is, the current freshie batch, they didn't get exposed to the sporting opportunities that we normally get in our first year. So the thing is, since they have missed out on those opportunities, I have planned a Sophie Sports Camp for them. As far as its feasibility is concerned, I have identified some slots for some time slots which could be utilized for the same purpose. And to start with, I have planned 5 sports, which are the most popular sports among the freshmen. So about the time slots, the plan is on having them on weekends from 5:30 to 7 p.m. And the sports officers would be taking these sessions.
Okay, so tell me one thing. We already have, first of all, which 5 sports are you talking about? And secondly, do you think that sessions on weekends, when most of the people actually want to enjoy the day and enjoy the weekend, and are planning to go out of the institute and enjoy the Mumbai city? Secondly, how do you think that in a month, like these many number of sessions will actually work out well to go forward and teach a sport and give them an NSO level experience, which they have missed out in the first year as online?
So iske piche idea is, first I'll come to the first five sports that I'm planning to conduct this for. Abhi, among the freshmen, the most popular sports are badminton, basketball, cricket, football, and volleyball. I'm planning this Sophie Sports Camp to start from these five sports, and depending upon how this camp goes, I'll extend it to other sports as well. Now, the thing is, you mentioned about people wanting to explore the Mumbai city. As you might know, currently, even as the institute has opened and people are inside the institute, but there are still restrictions on going out of the institute. And I believe that when people would be in the institute and it would be offline in full flow, to preserve the bubble that we are currently in within the institute, there would be restrictions on going out. As far as weekends are concerned and why would people want to come, as I mentioned, the first year current freshie match, they missed out on a lot of sporting opportunities that normally a person gets in their fresh year in the institute. So they're very enthusiastic about participating, and hence they would come for this and participate in the sports camp.
So tell me one thing, how many students are you planning to cater? Because as I see in current batch, we have 1100 sophomores, and even across these 5 sports, and you're just giving 5 sports as an option, right? and with the limited constraint of the facilities that would be opening up, and as you mentioned, the bubble and the condition that we are in, the pandemic situation, I don't think so we are ready to operate all the venues at full strength. So how do you think you will accommodate, even if we are thinking that not all the 1100 students would be going to the venues, even if we reduce to any number, I can't see how will you be able to accommodate all the students, and at the same time give them the, and you're also restricting the choice, like you're saying that to learn the sport of their own choice. So I can't see both of these things happening.
Okay, so first of all, you told about the bubble. I would like to reiterate. The bubble is within the institute, and once we get offline, we can start the Gymkhana facilities in full flow. Because the thing is, every time a person comes to the institute to stay, they're quarantined for 2 weeks, and this is to ensure that there is no transfer of the COVID virus. And इसकी वजह से क्या होता है कि लाइक इंस्टीट्यूट में जो लोग हैं उसमें से वी हैव क्रिएटेड अ बबल जिसमें हमारा इंस्टीट्यूट विद इन द इंस्टीट्यूट जो ट्रांसमिशन ऑफ डिजीज है वो मिनिमाइज होगा. एंड एज फार एज केटरिंग टू द नंबर ऑफ पीपल, हर एक स्पोर्ट में
अभी भी वो हो रहा है, लेकिन अभी तक
अभी भी वो हो रहा है, बट जिमखाना फैसिलिटीज खुल गई है ना. जिमखाना फैसिलिटीज आधी से ज्यादा खुल गई हैं, एंड देन द ओनली थिंग रिमेन्स इज द इंडोर फैसिलिटीज. इंडोर कॉम्प्लेक्स खुल गया है, बस जिमखाना फैसिलिटीज खुलना बाकी है. एंड बाकी जिमखाना ग्राउंड वगैरह सब कुछ.
Indoor facilities are not opening up due to the ventilation issue that we have. So how do you expect कि ये सारा हो जाएगा? Especially you have not answered कि 1100 students में से जितने भी students तुम निकाल लो, how do you accommodate all of them in these 5 sporting venues and try to coach them when coach would be available on 2 days, and you're saying that weekend पे हर दिन तुम coach को available करवाओगे? How do you plan to cater such a big batch of students? Even if you distributed them, how are you planning to distribute them? I can't get it. And especially among
distribution, हर एक sport में around 25 to 30 students रहेंगे. Initially, this number of students who would participate would be around 150. NSO में भी अभी 650 रहता है. But the thing is, this is just for Sophies and people who are actually interested in participating for a teams. This also serves the purpose of scouting for our inter-IT team. अभी Sophie year में generally लोग बहुत कम लोग खेलते हैं. And Sophie year में हर एक टीम में ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 10 लोग continuously खेलते हैं कोई sport. So इससे at least 5 sport में, starting with 5 sports, and I will extend it to other sports also.
Thank you. Okay. That ends the rebuttal from Pallav's end. We'll be going over to the next question, and the next question will be asked by Sadaksh to Pallav.
Okay, so in your manifesto section, creating new frontiers, you've mentioned about registering IIT Bombay in the Association of Indian Universities. So इसके पीछे आइडियोलॉजी क्या है, एंड किस लेवल पे खिलाना चाहते हो आप हमारे इंटर आईटी प्लेयर्स को?
ओके, सो इसके पीछे आइडियोलॉजी ये है कि अभी तुम देखोगे तो जो अपने पास नए पूरे बैचेस आ रहे हैं, सो नन ऑफ देम हैव बीन टू इंटर आईटी और उद्घोष और स्पर्धा, सो दे डोंट हैव एनी एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ द कॉम्पिटिटिव मैचेस एंड एनीथिंग, while AIU, which conducts tournaments from universities coming across the nation, so this will give them extra exposure. वो एक उनको एक्सपोजर मिलेगा, वो कंपटीशन मिलेगा जो बाकी जगह पे नहीं मिलता. ये उसमें हेल्प करेगा कि उनकी बेटर ट्रेनिंग हो सके. So that's the purpose.
बेटर ट्रेनिंग तब होती है, हम लोग बेटर ट्रेनिंग तभी करते हैं जब वी आर प्लेइंग टीम्स दैट आर एट अ सिमिलर स्टैचर एज आवरसेल्व्स. अभी AIU में क्या होता है, अगर आपने ग्राउंड को किया होगा तो इसमें आर्ट्स कॉलेजेस भी होते हैं, स्पोर्ट्स कॉलेजेस भी होते हैं, तो उनका लेवल डेफिनेटली हमारे लेवल से काफी ऊपर होगा. एंड हाउ इज दिस हेल्पिंग आवर टीम्स? लाइक अभी आप कोई टीम लेके जाओगे एंड यू आर प्लेइंग अगेंस्ट अ वेरी हाई लेवल टीम, एंड देन फिर टीम हार के आ रही है, तो दिस वुड डिमोटिवेट द प्लेयर्स. तो मतलब हाउ इज दिस हेल्पिंग द टीम?
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल लिसनिंग टू योर फर्स्ट पॉइंट कि हायर लेवल की टीम आती है, तो आई डोंट नो हाउ डिड यू कम टू दैट. एंड सेकेंडली इसमें क्या होता है, पहले जोनल लेवल होंगे जिसमें लीग स्टेजेस होंगी, तो लीग स्टेज में ये नहीं कि तुम हारते बाहर हो जाते हो, यू विल गेट मल्टीपल चांसेस. एंड सेकेंडली winning and losing is a part of going into a competition, and the experiences that matters according to me. And अगर अपन टीम को अगर टफ कंपटीशन में नहीं भेजेंगे और इंटर आईटी लेवल पे डायरेक्ट भेजेंगे, आई डोंट थिंक सो हाउ कैन द टीम compete over there. तो ये ट्रेनिंग का पार्ट बनेगा.
But our objective for inter IT is to get the teams accustomed to the level of inter IT. अभी उससे बहुत ऊपर के लेवल पे then teams wouldn't really learn anything. अभी similar stature के teams के साथ हम इसलिए खेलते हैं because then we would learn to उसको डील कैसे करना है कोई भी प्रेशर सिचुएशन होती है. अभी मोनोटनी आ जाएगी. एंड एज यू मेंशनड इसका लीग स्टेज होता है, तो ये टाइमलाइन में कहां से फिट होगा? लाइक व्हेन आर यू प्लानिंग ऑन टेकिंग आवर टीम्स टू प्ले दिस टूर्नामेंट्स?
Okay, so I'll answer in parts. So the first part you said कि अगर अपन टीम को अकस्टम करना तो इंटर आईटी लेवल के. So if you see currently जो अपन उत्कोष स्पर्धा में पार्ट लेते हैं, I have not seen कि अपन की जो performance वो deteriorate हो रही है. So it's not like that we are getting accustomed to it. So we need to shift towards more competitive tournaments so that we can play a tougher team and actually gauge कि हमें कहाँ workout करने की जरूरत है. So that will help in that part. Now answering to कैसे होगा ये लीग स्टेजेस वगैरह, तो लीग स्टेजेस और जो मेन टूर्नामेंट होता है वो होता है अक्रॉस 3 to 4 days. इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट कि लीग स्टेज पहले हो रहा है फिर एक महीने बाद मेन स्टेज हो रहा है. सो आई डोंट नो व्हाट यू आर ट्राइंग टू व्हाट काइंड ऑफ पॉइंट यू आर ट्राइंग टू मेक ओवर हियर.
Okay, so first of all, I'll reiterate on the Udghosh point. अभी हम उद्घोष में क्यों जाते हैं? We go to Udghosh because a lot of relevant teams come there. बहुत सारे IITs आते हैं and this prepares us for inter-IT. We can actually scout the opposing IIT teams and then focus on their weaknesses and our strengths and strategize for the inter-IT. अभी इस tournament में AIU में कोई भी relevant teams नहीं आती and as far as you mentioned about the tournament being for 3 to 4 days, आपने इसका timeline देखा है क्या? किस time पे कौन-कौन से tournaments होते हैं? Like, who have you talked to this regarding? Who have you talked to regarding this point?
Okay, let me answer that part.
Just to mention again, you cannot take the name of the dignitary or the position. You can move ahead.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool.
So first of all, answering the part जहाँ पे उत्कोष का तुमने mention करा. So what I've observed that participation in Utkosh has been going down since the first year that I came to IIT Bombay. So that's why I find need of moving towards these AIU tournaments, which won't have any diminishing and won't actually depend on the registration number of registration that tournaments get like Utkosh. They already have a plan structure and registrations from across the country. So that will provide us much more exposure. And secondly, जो point था तुम्हारा तो टाइमलाइन मैंने डेफिनेटली देखी है. स्पोर्ट्स अलग अलग टाइम पे होता है. ये नहीं कि सारे स्पोर्ट्स एक टाइम पे हो रहे. तो वी आर नॉट प्लानिंग टू सेंड द कंटिजेंट, बट अगर इंडिविजुअल स्पोर्ट्स भी जाके अगर वहां पे ज्यादा सीख के आए तो दैट्स बेनिफिशियल. एंड एज फार एज द थिंग इज कंसर्न दैट whom I talk to, so I've talked to the SAG administration and they are really appreciative कि we should actually register and go for it and let our players learn a lot out of it.
Okay, so
if they're willing, then and if I'm willing, and
one second.
If they're willing and if I'm willing,
One second. Factual correction: the number of participation in Udghosh hasn't decreased by a lot from your first year. Secondly, this is the last rebuttal, so you have limited second.
So as I mentioned, it decreased not a lot. I'm not gauging the percentage, but I'm saying that it will always depend on the number of registration that fest like Udghosh get. While AIU is a constant thing where the teams have registered and they do come over there, and that too in large quantity, and we get the competition. And as I mentioned, if the SAG administration and if I as a GS are willing, we can actually go there and play and even at to certain extent win. I don't believe that our team is so incompetent that they will lose every time. I believe that they can win. Yeah.
So as far as you mentioned about SAC administration, that is why we have an Institute Sports Council. And अगर आप इस साल council में होते तो you might have known कि हमने इस साल AIU पे discussion किया था, and the primary reason for which
no derogatory remarks.
Okay, cool. And the reason that this was not taken forward is the time of the tournaments. इसमें अभी I have a list of 6 tournaments for West Zone for 2018-19 and 17-18. इसका टाइमलाइन है एंड 6 विमेन स्पोर्ट्स एंड 11 मेन स्पोर्ट्स है. सबके टाइम हमारे या तो एंडसेम टाइम से क्लैश होते हैं फॉर द ऑटम सेमेस्टर या इंटर आईटी टाइम से क्लैश होता है. एंड सम टूर्नामेंट्स आर राइट आफ्टर द इंटर आईटी. उसके बाद हमारी टीम्स प्रैक्टिस नहीं करती हैं. सो इससे कोई पर्पस सॉल्व नहीं होगा यहाँ पे जाके. एंड देन इट्स रियली नॉट फीजिबल टू एक्चुअली पार्टिसिपेट इन दीज टूर्नामेंट्स. And as far as Udghosh is concerned, हम Udghosh जाते हैं as a contingent to keep the contingent together. And एक तरफ you're planning to organize contingent excursions. And यहाँ पे हर एक sport में अलग अलग venue पे भेज रहा. इसमें भी like for men and women the venues are different. So like the contingent is not together. And then time जो है यहाँ पे हम जा ही नहीं सकते, feasible ही नहीं है. And then इसके maximum venue आसपास नहीं है. Like there are a lot of venues in Rajasthan, then a lot of venues in MP. Then the tournament जिसमें feasible है वो मुंबई से बहुत ज्यादा दूर है. तो like इसको इसमें आप लेके कैसे जाओगे? Because अभी 6 में से
the last from your Sadash, Pallav, you can answer that. Sadash, you can stop.
Right. Yeah. So I'll answer. So first of all, ये 18-19 का है, so every year this changes and timeline is changing. And secondly, जो
Roughly it
intright की
remains the
बाद वाली
same.
बात
18,
करी तो
19 and 17. Can I just speak
Please
for a
wait for
second?
the other candidate. Please wait for the other candidate to speak. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So जो इंट्राइटी के बाद टूर्नामेंट्स करने की तुमने बात करी, तो उसमें अपन अगर पार्टिसिपेट करते तो पार्टिसिपेटिंग एट एनी टाइम एट एनी टाइम इट्स नॉट लाइक नॉट रीजनेबल और एनी अपन कभी भी पार्ट ले, अपन सीख रहे हैं, और वैसे भी अगर इंट्राइटी की बात भी हो रहा है तो अपने पास नई जनरेशन है जिसको अपन वहां पे सिखा सकते हैं. एंड उसके बाद एक सेकेंड, तुमने और क्या कहा था? हाँ, I can't. Okay, that's it. I don't know what. Yeah.
Can you just add one thing, Yogi?
Yeah.
Okay, so अब हम लेके जा सकते हैं किसी भी टाइम पे, एंड सेम टाइम पे कोई भी टीम जा पाएगी क्या?
Yeah. Sorry, your contingent part once.
Pallav, you can answer that, and we are moving on to the next question. You can answer that quickly. You have 30 seconds.
Sure. As far as contingent excursions are concerned, they would be happening anyway. उद्घोष के साथ मेरे को नहीं पता कि कैसे अपन contingent excursion की तरफ जाते हैं, because एक तो उद्घोष की तरफ सारी टीम्स नहीं जाती है, because they think that they would be practicing better at home ground because of the competition. That's what I've learned from my groundworks with the secretaries and the councils. So yeah, you would give a better opportunity.
Go, right?
Just a second, factual correction. Most of the teams go to Udghosh except Aquatics, just because that is the time for their entirety. And some of the teams wish to drop out, so only 1 or 2 teams will go. Moving on to the next question. Pallav has the next chance to ask a question directly to Sadaksh.
So Sadaksh, you have mentioned in the institute teams that you would be introducing recordings of practices and competitive matches of the teams. So few teams are already doing that on personal level. So what are you trying to bring in new? And secondly, how do you plan to execute it with the limited number of cameras or the resources we have and the workmen we have, workforce?
Okay, so as you mentioned, a lot of teams are doing, some of the teams are doing this individually, but this is something that will definitely help our teams, because abhi kuch aap koi bhi sport khelte ho, so the best way to learn is to learn from your mistakes, and you're looking at your mistakes and you're learning. So my plan is to integrate it with all the teams, and जब सब teams ये करेंगी, and जो नया मैं ला रहा हूँ एक तो सारी teams के लिए, and then सारी teams के अलावा this would be a centralized thing. इसमें we will create archives for the teams. जिससे फ्यूचर जनरेशंस भी देख सकते हैं उसको वीडियो को, एंड देन दे कैन लर्न फ्रॉम द सीनियर्स मिस्टेक्स. अभी वन थिंग यू आल्सो मेंशन्ड अबाउट लिमिटेड कैमरास. अभी क्या है, हम फोन से भी रिकॉर्ड करते हैं तो 720p रिकॉर्डिंग हो जाती है इजीली, बट द इशू विद रिकॉर्डिंग फ्रॉम फोन्स इज दैट स्टेबिलिटी नहीं होती, एंड हैंडहेल्ड होता है तो वो ढंग से हो भी नहीं पाता रिकॉर्डिंग, एंड द पर्सन हु इज एक्चुअली वाचिंग दे कैन रियली फोकस ऑन द ग्राउंड. सो माय प्लान फॉर दिस इज टू प्रोक्योर ट्राइपॉड स्टैंड्स फॉर द फोन्स, एंड रिकॉर्डिंग का प्लान मेरा फोन से ही है to minimize the budget usage.
Okay. So tell me one thing कि इसको करेगा कौन? And secondly, as you know कि अपनी जो practices होती है, जो practice matches होते हैं during the main camp or before that, वो सारे across all sports चलते रहते हैं. So how do you make sure कि हर practice match या main कोई भी practice match की recording हो? Who will make sure that, because teams अपने आप पे करती है, तो as a council, what are you doing actually? Are you just forcing them कि नहीं जाओ अपने वहाँ पे record करके लाओ, या फिर just the team members कि you should record or the captain should record? How do you make sure that the recordings are made and that are converted into archive? And secondly, if you're saying कि mobile से तुम record करोगे and उसके archive बनाओगे, तो I don't see the quality of it working out well, because we already try making it live on Facebook or many other things, recordings. I've tried that, so I don't see the purpose of this.
Facebook Live में issue ये है कि it also depends on the internet connectivity you are having, तो उसकी वजह से the quality is considerably reduced. And जैसे मैंने mention किया था कि किसी भी phone में easily अभी maximum smartphones में 720p से ऊपर recording होती है. आप कोई भी अगर match online देखोगे उसकी streaming भी it's at 720p. Then इसके अलावा you mentioned about सारी teams के लिए कैसे करोगे? अभी हमारे सारी टीम्स प्रैक्टिस मैचेस खेलती है, सारी टीम्स कॉम्पिटिशंस में जाती है, बट नो मोर देन 4 or 5 टीम्स आर प्लेइंग एनी मैच साइमल्टेनियसली. इंस्टीट्यूट के अंदर कुछ भी होगा तो हम उसमें 4 से 5 अगर रखते हैं हम ट्राइपॉड स्टैंड्स, सो द ओनली थिंग रिक्वायर्ड इज द फोन, एंड रिकॉर्ड सेक्रेटरीज कर सकते हैं. दे जस्ट हैव टू स्टार्ट द रिकॉर्डिंग एंड देन जस्ट नीड समवन. हमारे पास इतना वर्कफोर्स है, कन्वीनर्स है, बहुत सारे लोग हैं, दे कैन जस्ट लुक एट कि वहाँ पे कोई उसमें इशू नहीं कर रहा है, मतलब कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं क्रिएट कर रहा, बस वहाँ पे बैठ के उसको इंस्पेक्ट करना है.
Okay, so two things over here कि तुम लोग सेक्रेटरीज कर लेंगे और कन्वीनर्स उसको देख लेंगे एंड सेकेंड तो उसमें मेरे को एक चीज बताओ, जब मेन कैंप हो रहा होता है तब मोस्ट ऑफ द कन्वीनर्स आर नॉट इनसाइड द इंस्टीट्यूट एंड सेकेंडली जो सेक्रेटरी होता है दे आर प्रीऑक्यूपाइड विद इंटर आईटी अरेंजमेंट्स एंड एवरीथिंग दैट नीड्स टू बी डन. So how are you planning? और secretaries के पास वैसे भी बहुत काम रहता है, as you I don't know if you know or not, but secretaries के पास उस टाइम पे बहुत सारे काम होते हैं. So how do you plan कि वहाँ पे जो हो रहा है वो एक तो रिकॉर्ड हो, एंड ऑल्सो कि लाइक यू सेड कि हर एक टाइम पे 4-5 स्पोर्ट में हो सकते हैं मैचेस नहीं चल रहे हो, बट उससे ज्यादा स्पोर्ट्स में मैचेस चलते हैं. दैट्स व्हाट आई हैव ऑब्जर्व्ड, बिकॉज मेन कैंप के टाइम पे सबकी प्रैक्टिस मैचेस होते हैं. At every time there's a practice match going on. Secondly, in sports like lawn tennis, squash, जहाँ पे multiple courts है, multiple courts पे matches चल रहे हैं, तो how will you make sure कि हर मैच रिकॉर्ड हो पा रहा है, या कौन से मैच रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हो तुम, किसमें फ्लॉ, यू कैन जस्ट जज कि किसमें फ्लॉ होगा, किसमें फ्लॉ नहीं होगा, किसमें मिस्टेक्स होंगी, किसमें नहीं होगी. तो how are you planning to go ahead with it?
Okay, so as far as the preoccupation of the secretary's is concerned, अभी secretary को जाके बस phone setup करने हैं, they have to start the recording. उसके बाद में throughout the duration of the match, they just need one person. वो कोई team का कोई substitute भी हो सकता है, especially for team sports. या बहुत सारे team में members होते हैं, then who are not actively playing, they can look after it. And the thing is, secretary का इससे ज़्यादा मतलब इसमें ज़्यादा काम लगेगा नहीं. And to ensure that the recordings are made, एक बंदा मतलब team में बहुत सारे लोग होते हैं. And they're always more than willing to help out the secretaries. इसके अलावा for as you mentioned for sports like lawn tennis and squash, lawn tennis में हम 3 multiple courts का साथ में भी कर सकते हैं record. Like we have vantage points around the lawn tennis court.
So
that was the last rebuttal. We are out of time for this question. We'll be going on to the next question from Sadaksh to Pallav.
Shall I ask? Yogi, I shall ask, right?
Yes, from Sadaksh to Pallav.
Okay, so in your manifesto under infrastructure, you have mentioned you will introduce gym facilities in the indoor sports venues. So what is your plan for this, and what is the equipment and that you're planning to procure, and where do you think it will come from?
Okay, so let me tell you the basic purpose behind this idea of introducing the indoor gym facilities. So over there, we have multiple sports that practice for year long. So these gym facilities would be the basic purpose is to cater to the teams of those sports, and secondly to reduce the pressure or the crowd in the new SAC gym. Now, as far as the types of equipments are concerned, so I got to know from my groundwork with these secretaries across these sports that they need equipments like pull-up bars which are wall mounted, or dip bars which are wall mounted, or dip bar stands. So there are multiple equipment that can be accommodated into the space which is available near the Kho-Kho court's room. Near the Kho-Kho court, there's a room which already have old machinery shifted from the badminton court. And also we can procure some equipments from the old SAC gym, which most of the sports officers have agreed to, of shifting them to the indoor facilities so that they can be used much more justifyingly. Yeah.
Okay, so you're planning on procuring some new equipment and using some old equipment also, right? Which is already there in that storeroom. So I have done my due groundwork about these equipment which have been moved from the indoor badminton court to the storeroom near Kho-Kho court. Sorry. So the thing is, wo jo equipment wahan pe leke aaye na, they're completely unusable. If you want, I can share the pictures and videos of those equipments with you.
That is unnecessary. Please stick to the point. Sharing any sort of photos is unnecessary. Please stick to the point.
Sure. So one more thing I would like to ask, you will procure new equipment, and what is the cost estimate? And एक और चीज I'd like to mention कि तुम्हारा objective है कि new SAC and old SAC gym से load कम करना है, and then you're moving the equipment from there to the क्या नाम है, the storeroom. So like how is your purpose being solved here? And then storeroom में इतनी जगह है क्या? Like it's a very small room, and then उसमें you're planning to incorporate so many equipment. So how are you planning on doing this?
Yeah. So to answer your first part, which is जो वहाँ पे equipment रखे हैं वो बहुत बुरी condition में, तो yeah, definitely वो है, तो उनकी जगह अपन नए equipments ला रहे हैं. और जो मैंने इक्विपमेंट्स की बात करी वो वॉल माउंटेड है और वो बहुत कम स्पेस यूज करते हैं, और जो अदर इक्विपमेंट्स हैं जिनको भी अपन को प्लेस करना है, तो इफ ऑर्गेनाइज्ड इन अ प्रॉपर वे, स्पोर्ट्स ऑफिसर्स एंड द सेक्रेटरीज बोथ हैव अग्रीड कि वी कैन डू दैट. नाउ कमिंग टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट की आई हैड मेंशन कि न्यू सैक जिम से अपन को प्रेशर कम करना है, एंड सेकेंडली ओल्ड सैक जिम जो है वो अभी भी थोड़ा कम यूटिलाइज होता है. वहाँ पे दोनों जगह पे वैसे भी कुछ ऐसे इक्विपमेंट्स हैं जो अनयूटिलाइज जाते हैं, जैसे डंबल्स एंड जो बेल्स होती है, लिफ्टिंग बेल्स, वो कई अनयूटिलाइज जाती है, तो उनको वहाँ पे शिफ्ट करने का प्लान है. सो या एंड
क्या चीज वहाँ पे यूटिलाइज करना है? डंबल्स एंड you mentioned
the
dumbbells,
lifting
right?
bells.
The lifting bells, okay. So I would like to inform कि मतलब जो weight training equipment रहता है, be it dumbbells और push up bars और even the lifting bells, उसको properly place करने के लिए हमको flooring का requirement है. एंड उस रूम में वहाँ पे कोई प्रॉपर फ्लोरिंग नहीं है. देयर आर टाइल्स पे हम इक्विपमेंट रखेंगे, टाइल्स खराब हो जाएंगे, एंड देन वी नीड अ प्रॉपर फ्लोरिंग फॉर दिस. एंड अभी किसी भी जिम के लिए वी नीड प्रॉपर वेंटिलेशन, एंड उस छोटे से रूम में यू आर ऑलरेडी लोडिंग अ लॉट ऑफ इक्विपमेंट, एंड देन वहाँ पे प्रॉपर वेंटिलेशन के लिए कुछ नहीं है. सो हाउ यू प्लानिंग ऑन इम्प्लीमेंटिंग दिस? मतलब मेरे को फीजिबल तो नहीं लग रहा है बिल्कुल भी.
ओके, सो टू आंसर योर फर्स्ट पार्ट की फ्लोरिंग के लिए और डंबल्स के लिए, सो डंबल्स के लिए रैक आती है जिसके ऊपर वो रखे जा सकते हैं विदाउट एनी इशू. एंड सेकेंडली जो अपना वेंटिलेशन की बात है, तो वी हैव विंडोज एंड डोर which can be kept, the windows can be opened up or are ready to be shifted into that, converted into that fashion where they can be opened up. So this will ensure the proper ventilation. So yeah.
Okay, like just opening the windows ensures proper ventilation, like you mentioned.
That was the last submittal from your end. Thank you. We'll be moving on to the next question from Pallav to Sadaksh.
Okay, so Sadaksh, the fact is that we already have so many number of events across so many sports in our timeline, where our calendars are literally jam-packed with, in the first sem we have inter-IT training and still some events, and in the next semester we have almost all the events for the outdoor, the facilities that are not open in the monsoon. So tell me one thing, you are trying to introduce many events where sports-wise orientation, sports weekends, then after that Queens are Diwali run. So how do you plan to accommodate so many events when already we are having for a fact 200 plus events across all the 14 sports? So tell me one thing, how are you planning to actually place these events between those events?
Okay. So as far as my events timeline is concerned, I have prepared a comprehensive timeline comparing the last year's events plan of action and the year before that. And there I have identified periods of time during which the number of events in most of the sports is almost negligible. I can elaborate on these periods for you. Like right at the start of the autumn semester, after the freshman orientation, we don't have many events, at least for a couple of weeks. That is when I am planning on organizing the Freshista. Then after midsems, we have a lot of events right after midsems, but after October 1st and 2nd week after Diwali, we don't have that many events. So during that time, I'm planning Diwali run. Okay, then you mentioned about Queensar. Queensar is not a one-off event. It's a year-long camp for women, just like Sophie Sports Camp, which would run along the year. And I have identified slots for the same to be for the whole year. Then apart from this, any other event that you would like a clarification on? I feel that the events timeline we have, it's already a lot of already very jam-packed. But the thing is, we can manage it very well, and we can manage it better. And a lot of events could be incorporated. And these events that I've mentioned, they're very crucial to building the sports community and the culture in the institute.
Okay, so firstly, that the thing that you're planning to accommodate so many events, and you're saying that in a smart manner we can do that. So tell me one thing, like for the complete year, all the facilities are used from 5:30 to 7 for NSO and 7 onwards for the team training. And except that on the weekends you're planning to put up the Sophie Sports Camp from 5:30 to 7. So I can't see how you're organizing so many events on such a constructed number of infrastructure venues and infrastructures we have, and especially when the GCs will be coming in, leagues are coming in. And another problem that most of the hostels face is that GCs are too close to each other. So don't you think rather than introducing new events, we should actually space up the current existing events because according to you, we have so much time in our timeline where we have so much empty time. So shouldn't we just decongest it and organize it in a much better fashion?
Okay, so I'll start with the point about hostels having a problem about the events being too close to each other. I've done my due groundwork with a lot of hostel sports scores and G6 and previous scores as well. So the primary issue that they face is the overlap of GCs. Like they don't have much of a problem with GCs coming in one after the other, but the only problem is that they're not given a proper timeline. For which I have another point in my manifesto regarding the detailed sports calendar. Apart from this, we can easily ensure that the GCs do not overlap. As I mentioned, it's about better management. We can manage the timeline better, and I have identified a lot of slots wherein not many events across all the sports are conducted, which we can utilize for new events, which are crucial to build the community.
Okay, so firstly, you didn't answer me how. Yeah.
What are the last details from your end? The time has ended.
At least.
Yes, Pallab, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, just let me complete it because firstly, Sadaksh, you didn't answer like 5:30 to 7. How will you get time in the week? Because you're already bringing in the Sophie Sports Camp and Queens R and NSO and team training. And secondly, the leagues and GCs happening at the same time are one of the issues, and GCs overlapping each other are another issue. So you have not actually worked on how you'll liberate that congestion of events occurring together. Okay.
Sadaksh, you have limited time to answer that. Please do that quickly.
But the thing is, for Queens R, I've also planned it on weekends, and there are still a lot of slots available for the institute public to use. And then as far as the infrastructure is concerned, a lot of infrastructural projects are in the pipeline, which I'm planning to complete, which will increase our infrastructural facilities. And this would definitely increase the facilities that we have available to conduct these events and for the institute public.
Okay, thank you. We'll be moving on to the next question from Sadaksh to Pallab. Sadaksh, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, so in your initiative under Fitter Campus, you've mentioned calorie calculator. So, like, how frequently are you planning on implementing this? Like, how frequently are you planning on auditing the mess menu? Because the mess menu, मतलब हर weekly बनता है, and हर एक item का calorie count अलग होता है, and हर एक hostel का ये menu separate होता है. So, how are you planning on integrating this with the sports app?
Okay, so the Insta app already does that, where they have menu for messes according to the week. And I've done my due groundwork with the Insta app people who are basically behind the structuring of the Insta app, and they've agreed that it can be simply the coding and everything is public, and the sheet that the data is feed in can be used, because both Insta app and the sports app are being built on PWA. So that resolves the problem. Like, we can directly bring in the data. Secondly, as you mentioned, the auditing won't be required as much, and the database that I have includes all the dishes that are used in most of the hostels. And when we it's a very extensive database, first of all, comprising of all the dishes, and secondly, we can just simply relate it to the mess menu, and it will automatically fetch the number of calories or other multinutrients that are in the food.
Okay, so you mentioned you have a database, but the thing is, the calorie count of such dishes which are available online, I agree they're easily available online. But the thing is, the way food is made in our institute, it's in a bulk mode. And then the nutritional value and the calorie count of any item prepared for like 2 to 3 servings, or bulk serving as for like 200 to 300 people. So like 300 versus 3, मतलब इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा difference आ जाता है. And the thing is, not just calories from, मतलब सिर्फ calories उतना matter नहीं करता. The nutritional value of the food also matters. So like उसके लिए, is there anything?
Yeah, definitely. So as I mentioned, the data is pretty extensive. It contains the protein content, the fat content, the carbs content, and the calorie. So the plan is to initially roll out the calorie, and subsequently, as we can, as the basically interface allows, we can move towards integrating the other aspects as well. Now, as far as the bulk and the limited servings are concerned, so I'm not trying to make a 100% thing. It's the basic purpose behind it to make the people realize how much actually they're consuming. And when we come back to the institute, we can actually measure it and reiterate that how much percent of the serving for 3 can be converted to serving of 300 of bulk production of food.
But what's the point of having a calorie count? Like people who actually care about the caloric intake, they're people who are working on their bodies and they're working out, and they already do that personally. So like, what would you offer as a GS? And the thing is, people eat at a lot of places apart from the messes. They eat in canteens, they eat in restaurants around, and they order food from outside. So like, how would you cater to those people?
Okay, so to answer that part, first of all, what I got to know from my groundwork is that most of the people actually want something where their diet and nutrition can be linked to the mess food because of the regular eating habits. So this will help in helping those a big chunk of community out. And secondly, when the purpose behind it is to make people realize that if they consume such calories or such nutrients, and when they go to so other part is the installation of infographics at different messes and info at sporting venues to make them realize that if you work out for these many minutes for a particular sport, you will burn this many calories. So it will help in making them realize that if they want to stay fit, they need to work out and they can actually go and use our facilities. So that's the purpose behind getting them out of their bed and actually motivating them. And as far as the food for these are concerned, the canteens or the restaurant foods, it's not like that we eat it every day. The basic food that we eat is mostly from the mess. And as far as the canteens are concerned, we can integrate that as well once we create the database of the items offered by the canteen. That too is available. It's just that it's not available on the Insti app. So that would be in the phase 3. Phase 1 being calorie calculator for the mess menu. Phase 2 integrating the multi-nutrients further. And phase 3 actually expanding it further to canteens and other eateries.
Okay, you mentioned about the various phases. So
this is the last rebuttal.
Okay, then I'd just like to say that in your first phase itself, as I mentioned earlier also, like how nutritional value kisi food mein kya hai, how do you actually know without you can create a database but you can't actually rely on the mess people to actually follow that nutrient, and jo hamare database mein hoga, this wouldn't actually be the exact same thing that would be made in the messes. So uske liye we need a proper audit, and ye audit karega kaun?
So for this audit, I've done my groundwork with the mess counselors of different hostels. They're ready to put in because this has been a long pending issue. Jahan pe most of the mess schools have requested mess managers or the basically the caterer to put up the infographics about different kind of food nutrients that they serve. So yeah, they're agreeing and they have really appreciated this point.
Thank you. That ends the manifesto debate for both of the candidates. We'll be moving on to the next section now, and it's called the topic debate. There's a maximum total of 20 minutes allotted for this section, and 2 to 4 topics or questions were given to the candidates beforehand, and they have prepared on that. There are total of 3 topics, and I'll be randomly selecting from this by doing a dice roll. And then I'll be letting on to know the views of the candidates. So this is how it goes. Then each of the candidate will be asked to put forward their views on this topic in 2 minutes, and then the debate will start for a maximum of 6 minutes. So since Pallav got the first chance to ask questions in the manifesto debate, the topic debate will be led by Sadaksh. He will be the first one to give his view, and then followed by Pallav. After both of them have given their views, we'll be moving on to the debate on that particular topic. So I'm just doing the dice roll, and yes. So one second. Right. So there were basically 3 topics. The first topic to be discussed upon is the current inter-IT ranking of our institute has dropped down from 7th to 5th in 2019. Unfortunately, this year we didn't have the teams on ground for practice due to COVID. What can be done to tackle the performance problem? And do you think the next inter-IT should be conducted? If so, how? We'll be starting with Sadaksh.
Okay, so first of all, it's an inevitable fact that our institute's performance has dropped down from 7th to 5th to 7th over the last 2 years. And the thing is, uh, to rectify this issue, we need to build the sporting community as a whole. And this would be done by involving the freshmen and the sophomores who are there for the longest time in the institute from this point onwards for the intra-IT. And for this, I have also planned some some initiatives for the incoming batches. Apart from this, we don't have to prepare the contingent just for the next year. We have to prepare it for the next 2 to 3 years. As far as the what was the second part of the question again?
Do you think the next intra-IT should be conducted, and if so, how?
As far as the conduction of the next intra-IT is concerned, this is utterly dependent on the situation of the pandemic within the coming months. Once that happens, we will have the Senate meet of the intra-IT representatives from all the ITs and all the ITs, stakeholding ITs. And the decision regarding feasibility would be made in that meeting, and thus the result again depends on the outcome of that meet and how the situation of the pandemic is during that time.
Thank you. We'll be moving on to Pallav.
Okay, so according to me, there were 3 major reasons for the performance related issues in the year 2019. The first being the volatile and rapidly changing availability of the coaches, because most of the coaches that came in after there were few retired, and there were many positions of coaches that were filled in 2018 and 19. So they were new to the system, new to the structure, and were basically adapting to the sports culture and the teams. So in the future, I'll ensure that the timely appointment of coaches is done when someone is going to retire. Before that, the system can start for getting the new coach. Second reason was unavailability of the ground due to restoration and along with the budget constraint due to which the practice in the summer was hindered. So for that, I'm planning to avoid such problems. I'm planning some infrastructural projects which will actually help to counter, first of all, this issue, and also the unavailability of facilities in the monsoon, like multi-purpose turf and covered wall practice area. Along with it, basically what we need right now is to provide the starting from right now training. So for that, I'm proposing to bring in YouTube videos shot by our institute coaches, so that people can actually learn from their home right now and basically try to at beginner and the intermediate level and grow on from there. Lastly, coming to the next part, which is conducting the intra-IT this year. So as I completely agree with Sadaksh, it's a very dynamically evolving situation. So for that, as I see, if most of the students return to campus by a certain period of time, we can start preparing and formation of teams. And after that, what I've learned from my groundwork is that IT Delhi is ready to host it for some low contact sports initially. And as time progresses, they will increase the number of sports. So yeah, I too am willing to support this point and take the student, because this is one thing that has built up IT Bombay sports culture, and we should definitely take it forward.
Thank you. Just factual correction. There were not a constraint in budget in 2019 which caused the problem. Going on to the debate
Yogi,
section.
One point, Yogi, can I say something?
It's a factual correction. Pallav, you cannot have a rebuttal on that.
But I don't think that factual correction is right. That's why.
Pallav, yeah, you can go on. I'll answer the rebuttal. You have 10 seconds.
So the issue firstly was getting coaches because of the budget crunch, external coaches, and secondly, the room retention was an issue which was not resolved because of the budget issue. Yeah.
I'll just stop you there. The budget issue occurred near intra-IT, and we got extra budget from the required offices. So the budget constraint was not a problem. Going further, we have the topic debate now. It has 6 minutes. So either of you can start. depending upon what the other person has given its view.
So, Sadaksh, tell me one thing, like you're saying that freshmen and the sophomores would be building it up. So, how do you plan to actually get them ready if inter-IT happens in this year? How are you planning to get them ready from this moment as of now? Because I didn't see any plan. And secondly, even if the institute opens up, I didn't see any plans. How would you ensure the hygiene is maintained, and especially in this scenario? No, nothing that you're doing at any facility. How are you planning to come up with it?
So first of all, for the freshies, we will definitely have NSO, and NSO से ही हम लोग scout करते हैं. This is a primary mode of scouting in freshies, and for Sophies, as I mentioned, I will initiate a Sophie sports camp. Uske alawa, as far as you mentioned about the hygiene aspect, this is something that the institute is already doing. So I know that you have also mentioned it as your own initiative, but the thing is, the institute is already doing this for the hygiene.
To get it right, actually the institute has installed sanitizer dispensers mostly in the hostels. No sporting venue has a sanitizer
sporting venues are in the tunnel.
Yet.
The institute is going to do this. And the
I talked to the HA council.
I
talked to the HA council and the PHO heads. This is not in the pipeline. The HA council has just proposed it to put it up in the hostels right now. So there's nothing in the pipeline as of now. So that's why this was my initiative. I've done my groundwork. There's nothing in the pipeline. There's a need, and that's why
it's not just about the HA council, right? It's not just about the HA councils. I have done my groundwork with the institute functionaries, and they have confirmed that the institute is planning on doing this, and it is in the pipeline.
No proposal has been made to the PHO. No proposal has been made to the PHO yet. So I don't know how you are saying that it's in the pipeline. It enters the pipeline when there's a proposal, right? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I had an internet connectivity issue. Okay. For the teams, you have you've planned a lot of things for the teams also, I am assuming. But for the current freshie batch, as I have also mentioned on numerous occasions, that they have missed out on a lot of sporting opportunities that we get in the first year, and they don't really have any exposure to sports. So how are you planning on integrating them to the intra-IT teams?
Right. So for that, starting from right now, as I mentioned, I'm planning some YouTube videos that would be shot with the help of the student council of the coaches at the venues of IT Bombay, and then using those videos, people can actually watch and learn. And I talked to the NSO coordinator, and they were really appreciative about this point, and they were ready to start it right now. As of now, they were saying that I'll call the meet right now and start it right now, so that we can teach them from this point onwards. We can start the training in a certain way in this infeasible time as well. Now, coming to the point that when they come back to the institute, see, the point is we will start with induction trials as soon as they come back to the institute, and after that the team training can start. So it's not like creating a special event or something will help, right? And NSO batches that come will already be given the space and time and everything, while for the Sophie batch, see, the thing is, I don't find your idea still any feasible for the Sophie camp that you're entertained, because you're already catering just 150 students out of the 1100 students, and 150 students that too spanned over 5
starting with 150.
So
you will continue, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so 150, even if you expand it further, like you're planning a single batch on both the weekends, like Saturday and Sunday, you're planning the same batch. So even if you expand it, like 30 students per sport is 150, right? That's what your calculation was. So what about the rest students? How are you planning to cater to them?
So First of all, I'll like to talk about the plan you had for the YouTube videos. Like, why would any student watch a YouTube video made by the sports officers? Yeah, definitely we would make them, and it would be a lot of effort. But do you think that effort is really the output is actually proportional to the effort? And the thing is, a lot of YouTube videos are already available, which the sports officers have already suggested the students to watch. And then there are a lot of people, if they want to play, they are currently playing. I know a lot of freshies personally, and they have been playing this sport for some time now in their cities. So this it's not really needed, and they're actually already practicing. As far as you mentioned about having only one batch for Sophie Sports Camp, last year, the concept of two batches for each sport, it started in 2019-20. Before that, there were only one batch for every sport, and there were 32 students in every batch. So 30 students can easily go accommodated and in a single batch. Uh, and yeah, as I mentioned, we will expand it to other sports, and the number of students, which is 30, which it wouldn't be a hard and fast number. We would have a +-5 buffer capacity, and there are definitely a lot of people who are interested in participating in sports. So the buffer capacity would be for people who would get an opportunity in case people out of the 30 students, they're not really regular. So the purpose with Sophie Sports Camp was to give
last 30 seconds.
The purpose for Sophie Sports Camp was to give them an exposure and to scout for the inter-IT teams and to ensure that a big chunk of Sophies is constantly practicing a sport.
Okay, so keeping that in mind, you are catering to 150 plus 5 into 5, like 175 students. That's fine. As far as the YouTube video is concerned, as you mentioned, it's not just a project for right now, it's a long-term project, because many students have complained that the coaches are not available on the courts, and they don't get to interact with the coach. So using the YouTube videos, what I'm targeting over here is to make sure that they connect with the teaching style of the coaches. And secondly, we can make it mandatory for the current NSO batch to watch it and learn. And thirdly, coming back to, so this would be an opportunity to those who don't get to interact with the coaches.
Sorry guys.
Those who don't get to.
About the YouTube point you said.
Sadesh, you can also stop. Radhik is the election committee member, and he has few points to make. Radhik, are you there?
Yeah. So this was regarding that sanitizer thing availability in Gymkhana. So according to what the institute norm says, as and when the population at that place is going to increase, the sanitizer and other COVID specific amenities will be provided to them. So whenever some particular entity inside the institute is going to open, and if there is more influx of people who are going to use it, amenities will be provided to them. So it is not something which is in pipeline. It is already been decided. So there is no shortage about that. It will be done. So that is what I wanted to convey.
Thank you, Radhik, for the factual correction. We'll be moving on to the second topic. I'll be just doing a quick dice roll. So the topic is, being in the sports sphere, you observe the Institute Sports Council transitioning into the online mode of conducting the events. How do you see it evolving in the coming semesters? So we'll start with Pallav in this case for 2 minutes, and then to Sadaksh. Pallav, you're up.
Yeah. According to me, in the coming semesters, Sports Council would have to evolve in the following aspects. In case of an online semester, they will have to cater to two kinds of community members. One who are inside the institute. So inside the institute, they will have to make sure the hygiene and safety is ensured, sanitization is ensured for the players. And secondly, they will have to conduct events at the institute level and camps, so that the people are engaged in the sports activities. Secondly, to those who are not inside the institute but at their home, we need to make sure that they get the right training. And so that's why the YouTube videos was proposed in my manifesto. Secondly, for those people who actually want to talk about sports, and for them, I'm making sure that podcasts and blogs are initiated that to answer those kind of people. After that, for the fitness, I would like to continue the existing events like Black Cat Championships, virtual runs, online chess tournaments, and the Fantasy League, which saw huge participation, and mold them to the specific needs for the future. As far as if we move on to offline semester, then I will try to normalize the situation as fast as possible, as soon as possible, and make sure that everyone is able to the sports facilities are ready to use at full capacity as soon as possible. And the normal scenario that I've already organized or lived in my as a institute lawn tennis secretary, I'll put in that experience and make sure everything functions properly.
Thank you, Pallav. We'll be going on to Sadaksh now. Sadaksh, you have 2 minutes.
Okay, sure. So one thing during my online tenure of the Institute Football Secretary, I have seen that a lot of events have emerged that could be conducted by the Institute Sports Council. These could be talks and panel discussions which we are conducting through Avan, and we conducted through IIT Bombay Sports and Fitness Club also. This is something which could continue when the institute is fully functional offline also. And the second thing is the prediction contest and fantasy leagues. This is something which involves the whole community. Right now, all the offline events are catered to people who play, but they constitute only a small fraction of the whole institute population. So for the people who are not really playing anything, but they're actually actively following the sports, we can have these prediction contests and we can continue with the fantasy leagues, which definitely saw huge participation in an online mode. Now, coming to chess as a sport has evolved a lot during the pandemic. And this is something which we could definitely continue in an offline environment also. Then, as Pallav mentioned, we initiated the Black Cats Championship, during which we gave fitness workouts to the institute teams, and then we can extend this to the general institute public also. After this, when the institute is offline, these are a lot of events that we can continue in an online mode. This also increases the scope of the number of events that the Institute Sports Council can conduct within a year. This would sit very well within the timeline, and there are a lot of events for people who are interested in sports and who are following sports, which could be conducted, and who are like, I would like to reiterate, there are a lot of events for people who are not actively playing, but they still follow sports. So this could be a pathway to involve them and build a sports community. And this would be very beneficial. This could be used in an offline environment also, as I have gained my experience in an online tenure.
Right. We'll be moving on to the 6-minute debate. Any of the candidate can start.
So, Sadaksh, you mentioned that in the offline semester as well, you will be planning to continue with the online events. And as I mentioned earlier, so many events are organized at all the time, and you're already bringing in new events. And especially, the question is, if we are having an offline semester and all the events, all the facilities are working at the full capacity and all the students are there, why do you want to still continue online events? Why can't we just invite and have a actually in person talks or the analytic workshops and everything? And if you yeah, so
okay, so you mentioned yourself only that we have a very jam-packed timeline, and the thing with offline events is they require some time. Even though we can manage the timeline better, we can continue with the online, because the idea about having offline events and having a specific timeline for it is the occupation of the sports facilities. But with these online events, which we will conduct during the offline environment also, we can actually involve a lot of people. I personally know a lot of people who follow sports, but they don't actively play them. So to cater to those people and to make them feel that they're a part of the sporting community, we can have these events. And conducting them wouldn't be an issue.
But tell me one thing, Avan is already conducting them and plans to conduct them further in a year-long campaign basis. So aren't we already doing that in Avan? So why do you think that Sports Council in particular should also have such events? Like, I know that Avan would be continuing that. So what do you want to conduct the same event twice, or what's your plan? And when Avan is conducting, it's catering to the much bigger population of the institute and as well as outside. Then why do you think we need to do the same event as a council?
I didn't mention anywhere that we will conduct the same events. The thing about conducting events from Avan is that they're not just for the institute population, but from other colleges also. We will conduct events. And then my vision with Avan Unify is to expand Avan on a grassroots level throughout the country. So those events that Avan would be conducted would have a majority of participation and population which it would cater to from outside the institute. As far as the Institute Sports Council is concerned, we have a lot of events for the institute populace, and our objective is to grow the sporting community within the institute. And as you mentioned, conducting the same events twice, conducting something for the general population and conducting something for the institute residents or institute students only. The objective is different, and hence a majority part of the event would also be different. It would be specific to us, and the events conducted under Avan would be really generic.
Okay, so according to me, what I've observed as Avan manager in the past and also as a member of the council, when Avan conducts an event, it's particularly for the institute as well as for the outside. It's not like they're just hosting outside. And secondly, with such a big population, with such a big population or the target audience, we will be able to cater to the institute in a way where we are able to get better, like a better guest or better orator or a better person who is basically better in every aspect as a sports analyst or a consult or whatever workshops you're trying to make. So why shouldn't we go for Avan, where we'll be able to actually attract a better candidate to do the same workshop which we are planning to do at institute level?
What exactly is your question here?
So when we do an event with Avan, we cater to a bigger population, right? So a better guest or a better person would be able to agree to come to the event. Well, if you are just showing them that you'll be conducting for the institute, then I can't see how you're able to get a better guest or whoever would be conducting the event. A better celebrity, if I must say.
So,
just tell me one thing. According to you, in which scenario would you be able to invite a better person to conduct the event? In a scenario where you are giving him a crowd of more than 150 or more crowd or a smaller crowd? In which scenario are you?
The thing about calling in chief guests or celebrities is about the contacts and how extensively market the institute. A large crowd of institute events also have the institute events that we conduct. They also have a large crowd. And if you might have noticed in recent Avan events also, the crowd for the events that we conduct through IIT Bombay Sports and through Avan, it's almost similar. So
I'm sorry to say, but what I've observed is when you give a person a better crowd, they agree much more easily, and a better person actually to conduct such events. If you give them a crowd of 3,000 and if you give them a crowd of 300, in which scenario do you think they will agree to come and do the event?
But as of now, the crowd is actually similar. The plan is to get it to 3,000. And as far as any talk is concerned, for Avan, we cater to the general population, not just in.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah.
Pallav, am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sadaksh, I guess, went offline.
Hello, am I audible? I'm sorry, I have internet connectivity issues.
Yeah, last 15 seconds.
Okay, so where was I? So as far as Avan is concerned, we conduct events for the general population, which the content covered is very generic. But for the institute, it's very targeted. And there are a lot of things that IIT Bombay students and IIT Bombay staff, they personally face, which not everyone in the public faces. So the objective is really different. It's not about a bigger or a smaller crowd. It's about the objective.
Okay. Do you have any question?
No.
All right. Thus, finally, we end the section of topic debate. We'll be now moving on to the Q&A section. I'll just give a brief about this section. Inside, we'll be asking questions to the candidates. 2 questions will be asked to the candidates separately, and these questions are from the responses to the online invitation of questions collected by them. Then the audience will also be allowed to ask questions for a maximum of 20 minutes with no more than 2 minutes on each question. And finally, to ask questions from the public, people can just raise their hand and we'll allow them to unmute themselves one by one. IIT BBC, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you please unmute the Insight editors?
Yeah, can the inside editor raise his hand?
I think we have one.
Yeah.
Yes.
You.
So my first question is to Sadaksh. An artificial multi-purpose turf has been proposed several times in the last few years. We need a strong reason from you explaining why you think this can be completed or even finalized during your tenure. Explain what you will do differently from the previous tenures.
Okay, so in my manifesto point, I've mentioned about it being a follow-up. So the thing is, this project has been in the pipeline for some years, for at least 4 years. And the thing is, it has a lot of different locations that have been proposed. But finally, we have reached a location during my tenure for which, at which we can actually execute it and then get it constructed. So the current status of this project is that we have an Institute of Eminence Fund. Okay, so one issue that we used to face was a financial issue. So for the next financial year, that starts from April 2021, we have a lot of fund available to actually get this project over the line. And as far as the current status is concerned, this project has been approved by the respective institute functionaries, and like the approval chain status has been at the most furthest part. It has been in the last few years. The only thing that remains is we need to submit a final proposal with the location and with a quotation from the vendor, and this project will be over the line. Will get over the line.
Only one rebuttal is allowed for Insight. Abir? Is Abir on the call?
Yeah, thank you. I am not going to ask any rebuttal questions for this particular answer. Thank you. I can go on to the next question.
Yes.
All right. So my next question will be to Pallav now, if that is okay. Is that okay? Or should I stick with Sadaksh?
Oh, that is fine.
All right. So Pallav, explain the Amazonian arcade mentioned in your manifesto. I want you also to speak out which sports will be taught. Give me some confidence about how many people will attend according to you. What will be done to ensure the comfort of the people who participate in these workshops? And yeah, that's about it.
So, as mentioned in the manifesto, Amazonian Arcade will be a two-phase workshop. The phase one would be at the hostel level, which will be organized in collaboration with hostel 10 and 15 and 11. So the basic target is to get them comfortable with the training, and the basic target is to get them comfortable in the hostel. And then the second part of the phase would be to conduct workshops in the ground at institute venues with proper time slots and proper availability of coaches. And this would be a big event because they would be conducted parallelly, making for all the girls in the institute. Making it a big event actually promotes more number of girls to come out, and so that's the target. And after that, at the end of it, you'll be actually gauging the progress and giving them a progress report, which would be done by the coach, so that they are encouraged, and whichever sports they think that they can pursue to the furthest extent, even extent to which they can participate in the inter-IT. So that's the point that I'm trying to take the girls to.
Right. So I guess a couple of things were missed. So my first question was again, which sports exactly, and how many
Across all the
people do you
sports, as I
expect?
mentioned.
Yeah, sorry.
Across
Every
all
single
the sports. And
all right.
yeah.
All right. And second
on
thing
the
was,
institute
what
level.
would be done? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like second question was like, there are reasons why girls do not come to play these sports in the normal practices, and we know those reasons. Like mostly it's because of like comfort or like the lack of participation, right? So my question is that what can be done exactly to increase their comfort level so that in such a scenario they are able to like perform well and like able to perform without any like sort of, you know, like comfortably. That's the most important.
Yeah, right. So starting with that, for the comfort, that's why it's a two-phase workshop. Phase one would be at the hostel level to get them comfortable with any sport and build the confidence. And the second stage is when we bring them out to the institute level activities. And after that, as I mentioned, that we will make sure that the courts and everything, the courts and slots would be there for reservation at regular intervals for females at different sports venue. So this aspect combined with the Amazonian arcade will pursue in making everything comfortable and getting them out of the rooms and participate and train to get into the entirety. And again, the progress report and everything is to actually make them realize that they have the potential in them to move forward and to reach that mark.
Thank you, Pallab. Abhi, that will be end of your rebuttals. We'll be moving on to the Q&A sessions. I think IIT BBC can now disable the insight questions. Moving on, from the audience, we'll be allowing questions. Since we have only 20 minutes allotted for this and 2 minutes per question, we'll be maintaining equality amongst the questions, and there are a total of 10 questions that will be asked. So people from the audience can raise their hand and we'll allow them to unmute. So
Yogi, can I ask a question?
Radhi, that won't be possible. Is this, or where is the question directed to?
I mean, to both the candidates.
I think you'll have to raise hand and then we'll allow you to ask the question.
Yeah, but in my case, I'm not able to raise the hand. That's why I was asking directly.
Okay, sure. You can go ahead and then we'll have Bajrang who has raised his hand.
Yeah.
I have question. But Bajrang, you can mute yourself. We'll be going ahead with Radhik first.
Yeah. So I'm just curious to both the candidates. Like you have mentioned in your talk here that you are selecting probable candidates for various sports through NSO. So what is your plan to recruit PG students, masters as well as PhD students who join as freshies in the institute? And from them, how are you going to scout talent for inter-IIT and other representing IIT events? This is a question to both the candidates.
Both of the candidates have respectively 2 minutes to answer this. Anybody can start. I think Pallav took the dibs on this. Pallav.
Yeah, so the first thing that I'm going to do for PG freshmen in particular is I'm planning a PG Genesis, which will be a 2-week workshop. As in the start of the semester, PGs are comparatively academically less loaded, and familiarize them with the sporting facilities and create the awareness for the sporting culture we have. And at the end of that, we will be conducting a tournament just like Freshista, so that we via the tournament we can actually gauge the progress they've made and also scout the talent. As far as the PhDs are concerned, so I'm planning PhD team induction in the January for the new batch of PhD that comes in. We'll be introducing them again to the facilities and interacting with the team. And further, we have camps like Praram for the beginners. And in the summers, I'm planning intermediate camp for the PGs because, again, they have much more time in the summers due to the academic load being less. And secondly, this intermediate camp would actually be a continuation for the beginners camp. And we can, again, over there, we can see the progress, and the coach can select at the end of the intermediate camp, they can select who via matches and competitions that which PhDs can be actually be included into the team or the pre-trials. Pre-camp.
Sadesh, you can go ahead.
Okay, so as Pallav mentioned, at the start of the first semester, PGs are relatively less academically loaded, be it both MTechs and PhDs. So for that, at the start of the autumn semester, I'm planning a pre-EG Freshista, wherein PG students can come in and show their talent in the respective sports. This would help scout for the institute teams directly, and these people can directly join the practices. As far as people who miss out on these events, I'm planning on holding separate inter-IT trials for PG students because what I believe is that the PG representation in our inter-IT contingent is very important. And the last time we won the general championships, we had a high proportion of PG students. So for this, for PGs also in general, we have a separate PG council, because the thing is they are a little hesitant in participating in common events. So that's why we have a separate PG sports council, and then we have a PGGC. So that's why I'm planning intra-IT trials for PG separately. This would be done before the intra-IT main camp trials, and the PGs who are good enough to play in the team, they would be directly into the camp team. And then on the basis of the common trials, we can judge the other students also.
Yeah, there is a factual correction. Sorry, Yogi, there is a factual correction. If you are considering the master students, they have equal number of courses that UG students also take. So the academic load part is same for the coursework based courses, that is MTech, MSc, equivalent to that of BTechs and all. For PhDs, maybe the course load is lesser. So that's a factual correction to both.
But for everyone, right at the start of the semester.
No rebuttals on this, both of you. Sure. We'll be moving on to the next question. It's from Bajrang, and whoever I'm unmuting, please start with your roll number and then ask your question.
Okay, yeah. Roll number is my roll number is 18D180004. I want to ask question from the Pallav. The question is regarding the introduce RFID technology in CrossCGC. What is the cost of this technology, and what are the drawbacks you feel in that previous CrossCGC? And first question is.
I think Bajrang, you mentioned 2 questions in that will restrict to that. Pallav, you can take the question.
Yeah. So Bajrang, let me tell you, like RFID technology costs 3 lakh for the system, and as I've done with my groundwork with the SAC administration, they have agreed that this would be a long-term investment and a very great investment, because this technology can be extended to use in other events like marathons and biathlons and cyclothons that are conducted. Secondly, the problem that I'm trying to rectify over here is most of the time after the cross is over, we do a manual count of and the positioning, which has led to major problems in the past. Like in 2019 itself, when we conducted the in 2019-20 cross CGC, when we conducted the GC, the results were haywire because of the 2 entry gates and everything. No one knew where to enter, and then the timings and everything was an issue. It was a complete disaster. So and most of the hostel and course and everyone pointed it out to me during my groundwork. So I'm trying to rectify that issue, because over here the RFID technology would help in noting the time for a person automatically.
Thank you, Pallav. We'll be moving on to the next question. It's from Arim. Arim, can you unmute yourself and speak?
Okay, so my first question is from Sadak Chauhan.
Start with your roll number and then.
So my roll number is 2001 00030. Okay.
Yeah.
So my first question is from Sadak Chauhan. It is, which sports are you planning to introduce the home away concept for, and how do you plan to introduce new hostels with tower structure? May I repeat my question?
I got a question. I'll just get back to you. So for the sports which I'm planning for the home away matches in the hostel support point, is that I'm planning this for outdoor sports. This has been in the pipeline. These kind of events have been in the pipeline for some sports for the last 2-3 years. And the only issue that we used to face was a timeline issue. And this was easily been rectified. And the sports are, just a second, the sports are football, hockey, cricket, volleyball, and basketball. As far as the hostels with tower structures are concerned, we can have the matches for these hostels on the institute Gymkhana venues only. And this wouldn't be home away, but this could be a sort of inter-hostel kind of thing.
Thank you. We'll be moving on to the next question. It's from Ashna. Can unmute yourself.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Oh,
Start with
okay.
the
So my roll number is 200040013, and I had a question for Pallav. Why is it necessary to have a complaint box when we will be having an online portal?
Can I answer?
Yes, go ahead, Pallav.
Okay, so the online complaint portal has been there for a long time, and according to me, the complaint boxes would act as a physical presence of that the Institute Sport Council is ready to hear you out. And continuing on that point, I also propose to make a create a online tracker which will improve the accountability and the transparency in the working of the sports council, because the complaints can be actually tracked and who's leading, and everything can be noted over there. So yeah, it's also two problems, like complaint box act as like a physical mean of symbol that we are ready to work for you. And it also acts, if you don't have mobile or anything, then you can just write the complaint with the groundsman over there, tear the page and put it into the box. So yeah, those are the two things that I'm targeting, and ultimately the accountability and the transparency that the sports council should have.
Thank you, Pallav. We'll move on to the next question. It's from Sujas. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yep.
Yeah, my roll number is 200040143. My question is to Sadaksh. The two possibilities that I can interpret are that conducting mixed events across all sports, or more such events in cricket, with the timeline and participation issue. How do you plan to execute this?
Okay, so I didn't mention first thing. I didn't mention for all sports, and the thing is, as I mentioned, the timeline could be the timeline could be managed better. As far as the events are concerned, I'm planning to extend this to athletics and athletics, racket sports, volleyball, basketball, kho and even chess. For even contact sports like football and hockey, we can introduce the mixed sports with special provisions for the participating women.
Okay, I have got one more query.
There are no rebuttals allowed, but I think you missed a part of Suja's question. It was, how do you plan to conduct it? If I'm not wrong.
The plan to conduct, for example, the mixed relay is that for mixed cricket and mixed relay, we register with teams. And the plan for other sports would also be of a similar format where you can come and register with your teams. And the purpose for this is that for mixed cricket, also a lot of boys, they participate and they bring in their friends. This increases the girls' participation. And I'm planning to implement this in all sports, across a lot of sports, to have a similar approach for reaching out to more women.
Sarash, I'm sorry. We'll be moving on to the next question. It's from Khushi Gusalia. Be unmuting you now. Khushi?
Yeah, so my question is to both candidates. Both of you have written. Sorry, yeah, 1900100037. Yeah, my question is to both candidates. Both of you have a point regarding podcasts in both of your manifestos. Can you please explain what exactly are you planning to do? Because I read it as covering events of from the inside and the outside and something like that. I need more clarification on what exactly you're planning. Anybody? Yeah.
So shall I start?
Yes.
So my plan is on having these podcasts every month, and the duration would be 5 to 7 minutes. The coverage aspect would include, they would definitely include the recent events conducted, the upcoming events. But the thing with our event coverage is that we are not really stressing upon the live GC results and standings. We cover the GCs, but we are not covering the actual standings that are in real time, and that are the current GC standings. And then there are a lot of matches that the institute teams play. And there are a lot of things happening from an infrastructural point of view. So my plan is to increase the transparency and to make the institute population aware of what the institute council and the institute sports teams are doing.
Can I continue?
You can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so the purpose behind this sports podcast channels would be firstly to cover the events that are happening in the inside the institute, like GC finals or major opens or leagues finals. Secondly, of events that are occurring outside where people actually want to talk about many other sports like cricket or football or many comebacks or other or history of sports or such things. So I'm trying to give a voice to all the incidents, whatever they want to talk about, and after that it would be filtered with the help of the sports council and the journalism team, and it would be uploaded on the archive. Yeah, that's the plan, to give voice to all the incidents.
Thank you. We'll be moving on to the next question. It's from Raghav Rawat.
Am I audible?
Yes.
My roll number is 200040114. My question is to Pallav. Pallav, sports is something that is learnt on the field and not on the videos. So why to waste your energy on making these videos and not to organize some camps like Sadak's told for Sophies who are going to be freshies this year? Like
Right.
videos are not going to help. They are available. They are already available with much better content. So why to waste your energy on that?
Okay, so the first part is the videos right now will help in you guys are the freshers right now to actually learn with this to adjust with this teaching method of the coaches, and you can learn at your home in the online semester in the online phase right now that we are dealing with. And if in the future we have online, then you can watch and learn from them, and we will be building from beginners to intermediate and accordingly. Secondly, the another problem that I'm trying to rectify over here is generally people have complained that coaches are not available for them on the court, or they're not available for teaching. So these videos would actually help in them to go and learn by themselves on the court or anywhere they want to go. While the camps will definitely occur. Camps have been occurring over the years, but this purpose has still not been answered for. So that's what I'm targeting over here, to let people actually learn by themselves on the courts, if the coach is available or not, with the coaching style that IT Bombay coaches provide. And secondly, if they approach the coach with their teaching style, then coach would actually understand that this guy or girl is serious about learning, and they will guide him. Because most of the coaches say people come and don't come the next day, or we don't know if they're actually dedicated that much. So that's the purpose behind it, to make them learn by themselves, or bring the coach to them if even if in a virtual method.
Thank you, Pallav. Next question is from Vikram Kate. Can you unmute yourself?
So, am I audible?
Yes.
So, my roll number is 200040074. So, my question is to Pallav. It's about Diwali run. Like, why would anyone want to run on Diwali? And how we celebrate Diwali as a festival in that case?
Just a correction.
It's actually my point.
Sadak's manifesto. Yeah.
I think your question is then directed to Sadaksh, Vikram.
Yes.
All right. Sadaksh, you can take that.
The idea behind Diwali Run, just like Color Run, is to involve the entire institute community and to make them feel welcome as a part of the institute sports community. This is not a competitive event. It's not just a run. There would be a lot of ambience aspects on the way. It wouldn't be exactly a run. It would be like a march, just like Color Run happens. And it is primarily the primary objective is to include the entire community and to have a major fun event for them in the odd semester.
All right. The next question is from Harsh Raj. Can you unmute yourself?
So my roll number is 1800400042, and my question is from Pallav. So you have written in your manifesto in infrastructure part about installation of Kabaddi in New Track, right? So I want to ask that what is the feasibility of this, as it takes a lot of time to lay the mats, and we cannot set it up permanently in New Track, right? Because it takes a lot of time to take it out and lay it back, and training room is also used for other purposes like yoga or fitness workshop. So what's the feasibility of it?
Okay. So to answer that, firstly, the plan is to procure the Kabaddi mat, and it can, well installed in the training room, it can, this Kabaddi mat have the liberty that yoga can be done on it. while there are other rooms that can be used for, there's another room, screening room, and such rooms which are not currently used or are generally unoccupied, and we can shift the other activities over there. Also, the purpose behind the kabaddi mat is to provide like the year-long practice to the kabaddi teams and make sure that monsoons or any such factors don't hinder their process, their practice.
Thank you. We'll be moving on to the next question. It's from Itansh. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, so my question is related to both of the candidates. So both of them have mentioned that they'll construct the multiple. Oh, sorry. My roll number is 1010052. Yeah, so my question is for both the candidates that both of them has mentioned that they'll be constructing the multi-purpose turf. So first of all, I would like to ask them what all sports would they include in that, and how would be the slotting for this, as like all different team members have different time commitments for academics, and so how will they be slotting this?
Okay, so I'll start. The point of having a multi-purpose turf is to ensure regular practice during the monsoon season for the football and the hockey teams primarily. So the slots would be currently what the teams they do, do basic fitness, and then they work out on their strength and have gym sessions. So the plan is that we have 7 days a week. So we can have 4 sessions on the ground and 3 sessions for the workouts. And this could easily be managed within the timeline that we have. The 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. slot is used by all the teams to practice. So alternatively, these teams can practice, and while one team is practicing on the multi-purpose turf, the other team could be working on the fitness in the gym or in the institute, other institute facilities.
Pallav, you can go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So the multi-purpose turf, as Alex mentioned, would be catering to the needs of football team and hockey team because of the restriction that they have in the monsoons. And again, as far as the slotting is concerned, most of the team practice from 7 to 10. And definitely what we have observed is during the practice hours, alternate days, the teams can take up the multi-purpose turf, and while for the other time, they can do the gym training, because fitness is a very important aspect, and most of these sports require a very fit body. So yeah. So the manifesto that I've presented came out of the hard work that I put in the groundwork over the past 1.5 months. It comprises of realistic promises, focusing on minute yet very intricate possibilities untouched in the past, which if worked upon with the right effort and motivation can do wonders for our institute sports community and its overall development. As Institute Lawn Tennis Secretary, having organized, executed events, and worked upon the infrastructural projects like resurfacing of the lawn tennis courts, which was a pending and a budget-intensive project, I have the organizational experience and the determination to complete all the pipeline projects and conduct the events. Being an integral part of the sports community for the past 4 years, I will put in all my experience in building a healthier and a fitter campus where the legacy of IIT Bombay sports shall always be catered. Even the smallest amount of effort of an individual will never go unnoticed, where even after 10 years down the line, you can say, yes, this is what I achieved. If elected as the General Secretary of Sports Affairs, I will execute my manifesto to 100%. Thank you.
My vision for IIT Bombay Sports is to provide an atmosphere where no talent goes unnoticed, be it an inter-IIT level athlete or a freshman with the potential to bring laurels for the institute. I'm a firm believer of the ideology that to bring back the inter-IIT General Championships home, we need to build the sporting community from the ground up, which would be reflected in our quality as a contingent and ultimately lead to our goals. It's a slow process, but worth every bit of the effort put in at the back end, and that is what I'm going to work hard to achieve. My manifesto has been constructed meticulously to make sure students from across all years benefit from my initiatives. Throughout my groundworks, I have made it a point to understand the in-depth intricacies of functioning of various sports councils and the various sporting teams. I am confident that if elected with the support of my council, I will ensure IIT Bombay sports at the top across the institute and beyond. If you look into my eyes, you can see clear as daylight. My vision, my passion, and the dedication to serve this institute to the best of my abilities. And I assure you with all my heart that I'll put my utmost effort to ensure that this great sports family, with its rich history of sports person, continues to grow, and each and every person in the institute has the ability and the opportunity to they could also have a similar journey that I have had, and they could also learn and grow from the same. This journey that I had has taught me so much, and together we can bring glory back to IIT Bombay Sports.